Hare Krishna, everybody. This is Krishna Dasa. Welcome. So today we are going to continue with the 11th chapter. We're going to cover Shlokas 11.24 to 11.31. Before we begin, I'll say the prayers to Guru and God, and then I'll play the Guru Mantra. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः।
Okay, I'll play the slokas.
नवस्पृशं दीप्तमनेकवर्णम् व्याताननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रम् दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो दंष्ट्राकरालानि च ते मुखानि दृष्ट्वैव कालानलसन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे च शर्मा प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास अमी च त्वां धृतराष्ट्रस्य पुत्राः सर्वे सहैवावनिपालसङ्घैः भीष्मो द्रोणः सूतपुत्रस्तथासौ सहास्मदीयैरपि योधमुख्यैः वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाणा विशन्ति दंष्ट्राकरालानि भयानकानि केचिद्विलग्ना दशनान्तरेषु सन्दृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गैः यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुवेगाः समुद्रमेवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा तवामी नरलोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्राण्यभिविज्वलन्ति यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतङ्गा विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धवेगाः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकाः तवापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धवेगाः लेलिह्यसे कृसमानः समन्तात् लोकान् समग्रान् वदनैर्ज्वलद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रम् भासस्तवोग्राः प्रतपन्ति विष्णो आख्याहि मे को भवानुग्ररूपो नमोऽस्तु ते देववर प्रसीद विज्ञातुमिच्छामि भवन्तमाद्यम् न हि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्।
Hare Krishna. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare
Hare Krishna, dear Satsang family. So, Hare Krishna, 11.24. O Vishnu, seeing your form, touching the sky, glowing in many colors, with mouths wide open and large, glowing eyes, my inner soul trembles in fear. I can find neither courage nor peace. Hare Krishna, 11.25. Having seen your mouths with fearful teeth, resembling the fire of cosmic annihilation, I have lost senses of direction and find no comfort. Please be gracious to me, O Lord of Lords, O Abode of the universe. Hare Krishna, 11.26. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with the host of kings, Bhishma, Drona, and the son of the charioteer, Karna, and our chief warriors too, are rushing into your fearsome mouths. 11.27 Some are seen trapped between your teeth with their heads crushed as they rush headlong into your fearsome mouths with terrible teeth. 11.28 As the many as the many torrents of rivers rush towards the ocean, so do these heroes of the human world enter your blazing mouths. 11.29 As mouths rush with great speed into a blazing fire to perish, so do these people rush into your mouths with great speed to their destruction. 11.30 O Vishnu, you are licking up, devouring all the worlds on every side with your flaming mouths. Your fierce rays are filling the entire universe with radiance and scorching it. 11.31 Tell me who you are, O Lord of awesome form. I bow to you, O Supreme Lord. Be merciful. I wish to know you, the perimable one, for I do not comprehend your nature and actions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ekansh. That was a good reading. Hare Krishna. So in the previous shlokas, see what is happening. Like it's a very gory scene. So in the previous verse, Arjuna was telling Krishna how he and even the demigods, he was saying how they were all in fear after seeing the ferocious aspects of Lord Krishna, the Vishwarupa, right? And now here Arjuna is continuing. He's continuing that line of discussion and he's telling Krishna that, Krishna, my mind has become, I've overcome by anxiety now. I didn't expect to see this. I didn't expect to see this, and I'm overcome by anxiety, and I'm no longer able to stay calm. He's saying, he says, Oh Vishnu, seeing you touching the sky, glowing with many colors, with wide open mouths and large fiery eyes, my innermost self is disturbed, and I find neither firmness nor peace. No, you see, it's not just an expression of fear. No, it is talking about a very big internal conflict that is going on within Arjuna. Because Arjuna he asked Krishna to show, but he was not ready for, or in other words, this is not what he was expecting. No, he was expecting something very pleasing, pleasant, and this is not something he expected. So now he's totally shaken up, and it is shaking up his mental equilibrium. And there is a big lesson here, this transformation that is happening within Arjuna, the transformation of, he used to feel like he is now pretty calm because Krishna was guiding him for the past 10.5 chapters, and Samatvam, Sitapragya, all of that. And, Arjuna wanted to confirm whether he says in Sitapragya. So he even asks Krishna, like, how does a Sitapragya talk? How does a Sitapragya walk? And so somewhere he was beginning to feel that, he's calm and he's composed and all of that. But now this Vishwarupa Darshanam is shaking him up. So internally now there is a transformation going on within him. What is the transformation? The transformation that we have to understand is that of how love and perception, how they evolve over time. Very important lesson, especially when we have we desire for a relationship with God himself. This is a very, very important lesson for us. Because, see, we have to also understand that this fear or the anxiety that Arjuna is expressing, it is not a sign of weakness per se. It is not that it is weakness, but it is a natural response. It's a natural response to the overwhelming nature of the divine. So the Katha Upanishad, it is acknowledging this. Katha Upanishad says, Bayad asya agnis tapati, bayad tapati suryaha, bayad indrascha vayuscha mrityur davati panchamaha. See what it says, the Katha Upanishad. It says, From fear of him, fire burns. From fear, the sun shines. From fear, Indra and wind and death. And the fifth, the speed. So in other words, it is saying that even the mighty forces of nature, such as fire and sun and wind and death, it's not, you shouldn't take it literally as fear. What you should take it as, they are all subject to the divine, awesome power of the divine. They are all aware of it. So in other words, whatever Arjuna is going through, that's a testament to the overwhelming nature of that divine, which we cannot comprehend. So when we try to comprehend, this is what happens, that we get overwhelmed because we cannot handle that. See, what was happening before this? What was happening before this Vishwarupa happened? Because you have all journeyed with Arjuna so far, correct? So tell me how Arjuna was perceiving Krishna. What do you think? How was Arjuna perceiving Krishna before Vishwarupa Darshanam happened?
As a friend?
As a friend, yes.
Loving him.
Yeah. Ekansh, you wanted to say something?
As a teacher?
Teacher, friend.
Yes, Guruji, as a teacher.
Yes. These are all, like, in other words, he was perceiving Krishna as his closest friend, and he was also perceiving Krishna as a well-wisher. In other words, all pleasant things, correct? Now, he knew Krishna's divine nature. But what was happening is, the affection and love that Arjuna was having, it was making him focus. The focus was on the friendly aspects of Krishna, the personal aspect and friendly aspect. That is the nature of love that we need to understand, and eventually we need to transcend. Because what happens when we feel love for anybody, we naturally tend to emphasize or focus on the comfortable, the good, the pleasant aspects. And we don't necessarily focus on the uncomfortable aspects or traits. That comes later. That is why we say time is the best test of any relationship, especially when you say love, give it time. Because initially we are focusing, because that is the nature of material love, at least. When we initially start out on a relationship, we are all excited and happy, and because the focus is only on the pleasant aspects and the expectation is everything is just pleasant, but that's not the case. It's not that there is anything unpleasant in Krishna, it is just that he's all encompassing. So it's not just rose, he's also the thorn. So we need to be able to accept the entirety. So that is one of the lessons for us is, for example, when you look at a mother, the mother will always see the child as her child only. No matter how much the child grows, the child may be a CEO, the child may become a minister, the child may become whatever, but for a mother, the mother will always try to focus on the child aspect. When the mother is saying, she will always say, it's my child. So it is not that is the only thing about the child. The child has a lot more attributes, but the focus is only on the my child part, correct? That was the same thing happening between Arjuna and Krishna before the Vishwarupa Darshanam, where Arjuna was only focusing on my friend, my well-wisher. And now he gets that was the trailer. Now he gets to see the movie and he's all shaken up. So, very, very interesting here. So after this Vishwarupa Darshanam, Arjuna's relationship is going through a transformation now. Very significant transformation. Now it is kind of shattering his previous understanding. Now it is forcing him to confront. Confront what? That gap between the human limitation and Krishna's infinite divine presence. Because what was happening, not just the perception, but also the ability to perceive. In other words, so far he was looking at Krishna only with human eyes, with a very limited perception. Now Krishna gave him the gift of Divya Drishti. He gave him the gift of divine vision. So now he is seeing Krishna through that vision, and that is shattering all his preconceived notions and perceptions, and that is creating a shift. deep within him, and that is making him realize that there is such a big gap between what we can perceive and what actually exists. Isn't it profound? In other words, see, for example, the mother and child I was just talking about, just imagine suddenly the mother realizes, oh, my child is actually a president of a country. Then what happens? Now, should the mother suddenly switch to a very formal way of behaving? Like, should she always look at the son as a president and talk to the son in a very formal way and salute him when he comes? I mean, is that how the change should be? Not required, right? What is the key? The key is to accept and appreciate the expansive nature, accept and appreciate the expanded nature of a child now. That he's no longer just a child, he's also president of a country. Accept it, respect it. But at the same time, trust the loving relationship too. That although he is now a president, he's still your child. That has not changed. See, but what has changed is the perception that he's just my child. No, he's not just your child. He's actually the president of a country. So he is much larger than that. But for you, he will be a child. You see how it works? So that is the kind of shift that is happening within Arjuna, where Arjuna was looking at Krishna only as just my friend, just my well-wisher, And then now he is realizing the expanded nature of Krishna, like he's so much more. So that generates that extra reverence and respect and all of that within him. So the other lesson for us is, if we want to really perceive, or if we want to realize the Supreme, then one of the key requirements is we have to let go of our limited perceptions. Swami Mukundananda, he explains it very beautifully. He says that, can you read text with your nose? He says, no. Can you smell with your eyes? He says, no. In other words, he says, look at how limited your senses are. Your nose can't read, your eyes can't smell. Now, how do you expect your senses to perceive that Supreme? That should tell you that a nose which cannot even read is so limited, an eye which cannot even smell is so limited. So we have to acknowledge that our senses that we use to perceive is very limited. And if we want to really perceive the Supreme, realize the Supreme, the first thing is let go. Let go of that attachment. In other words, this is the problem where a lot of materialists, they will say, show me the evidence of God, then I will have faith in him. And God is smiling there saying, once you have faith in me, you will be able to see me. Because the evidence is there. You just can't perceive it. If you have to perceive it, then you have to first get into the bhava of faith. See, that is how, that is one of the lessons that we need to, okay. So if you want to talk in more technical terms, the shift that is happening in Arjuna, before Vishwarupa Darshanam, Arjuna was in a Sakhya Bhava. Sakhya Bhava is the mood of friendship, Sakha. But after the revelation, after the Vishwarupa Darshanam, he is moving more towards Dasya Bhava. Dasya Bhava is the mood of servitude. It's more respect, more reverence, because now he's realized the magnitude of what he's dealing with. So from Sakhya, he's transitioning to Dasya. So he's no longer considering Krishna as an equal. So it's a very important shift, because now he's taking refuge in Krishna and he's saying, Krishna, you are not just as my friend, but I'm surrendering now and I've realized that you are the Supreme and you are the Supreme Protector. So please protect me. So now Arjuna is shifting into seeking protection of Krishna, because he's understood that Krishna is vastly superior. And so instead of just saying, Krishna, guide me, which is what he was doing so far, now he's saying, Krishna, protect me. No, you are the Supreme Protector. See how Arjuna is going through so many transformations just throughout this Bhagavad Gita. That is the kind of transformation we should also be gradually going through. And from this point onwards, Krishna also takes on the role of Supreme Protector for Arjuna, along with the role of friend and guide. He remains a friend, he remains a guide, And he also takes on this additional responsibility of being his protector. So that is why after the Mahabharata is over, there are stories that will demonstrate how Krishna was actually the one who was protecting Arjuna throughout the war. It is not Arjuna's own skills that was helping him survive. Very beautiful aspect of it. So this is where, many saints have said this, and most prominently Shirdi Sai Baba, he used to say, Jaisa bhava, vaisa anubhava. This is one of the other meanings of it. Because if you look at God as just a guide, then you will only get guidance. If you look at God as just a friend, maybe you will get some friendship. But if you look at God as the supreme, the divine, the Mahayogin, the protector, and if you surrender that way, then you will get God's protection. Isn't it very profound here? So, Jaisa Bhava Vaisa Anubhava basically means in English, your attitude towards God. That is what is going to determine your experience of God. So just to explain this a little better, I'm going to tell you a short story. The story is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a very popular story. It's called the story of Gajendra. Because this pretty much explains Jaisa Bhava Vaisa Anubhava. It is in how it plays out in real life of Gajendra. And here the context is devotion and surrender to Vishnu and how he is making us eligible to receive his loving grace. So it's a very captivating story. You can read that. I can share the verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam where you can read it, the original version. So the story is of Gajendra, who is the king of elephants. But he is also a devotee of Lord Vishnu. He is a very ardent devotee. And looking at his faith and devotion, a lot of people used to get motivation and inspiration and hope. Especially people who are going through tough times. Even today, people who are going through a lot of challenges or a lot of tough times, many times they are advised to listen to the Gajendra Slokam. Because that is a shloka that talks about, Lord, I surrender to you, protect me. I'm over condensing it, but that is the central theme of that whole shloka. So it is not just about, so the story involves physical struggle, but more importantly, it talks about the spiritual aspect. So I'll tell you the story as shortly as possible without losing the essence of it or beauty of it. So this story is set in the lush forest near the foothills of Trikuta mountains. So that is basically in today, that is Sri Lanka. So in Sri Lanka, one of the mountains in Sri Lanka, very close to where Ravana's palace was. There was a magnificent elephant. His name was Gajendra. And he was the king of the herd of elephants. He was very majestic. He was very strong, very big, very wise. And he was also very kind. Because of that, he was loved by all the other elephants and other animals in the forest. And Gajendra ruled the kingdom with compassion, justice, love and respect of all the elephants, of all the animals. And his presence itself, the towering presence, it just commanded a lot of respect from everybody around. And his kind-heartedness, it made him beloved to everybody. So, now, however, here is the problem. The problem is he was kind, he was devoted, he was faithful, he was strong, he was everything. The problem is he knew that. He knew that he was strong. He knew that people loved him. He knew that he was a good leader. Any guesses what happens when you start realizing that you're good? Yes, see, you're all advancing very nicely. Exactly. So now what happens? He gets pride. He starts now getting into the mode of pride in his power. See, pride is not overly harmful in this instance because he's still an elephant, but still it was influencing his actions and thoughts now. Now he started believing that he's invincible. Now he began to forget that no matter how powerful he was still in the material plane, where his powers are still limited, and it is still subject to the will of the divine. He started forgetting that. He started now thinking, I am so powerful, you know. So what happens? Especially when a devotee gets into the mode of pride, what happens? Then comes the test. When a devotee gets into a mode of pride, Krishna is very quick in coming up with a test. If you are in a mode of pride and if you think there is no test, that means you are not yet getting into devotion. And but when you get into devotion, Krishna will take care. He will make sure that you don't stay in pride for too long. So now let us see how the test was. So it was a very scorching, hot day, and so Gajendra is leading all the other elephants to a river, and the river was deep in the forest, and of course, deep in a forest, a river is going to be cool and pleasant, and so all the elephants enter the water, they are drinking water, they are feeling very blissful, happy, all of that, and now it was feeling like paradise now, where, there can be nothing wrong here because we are with the king of elephants and we are now in this beautiful lake and river and we are drinking. Wow, what can go wrong? Everything felt perfect, but he didn't understand that danger was right there because that particular river, that part of the river was the territory of a very powerful crocodile. Very formidable, immense strength, and you may not know, but when a crocodile gets hungry, it becomes a beast. So there was a very big, very mighty, very powerful crocodile, which was also very hungry, and it got very disturbed that what is going on? Suddenly so many elephants coming and disturbing me, disturbing my peace of mind. And it wanted to show who is the boss. First of all, it is big, mighty, it is hungry also. Now it is getting disturbed. And it says, no, I need to show them who is boss. I am the boss of this river, right? So what happens now? The crocodile suddenly comes and grabs hold of Gajendra's leg. Now, crocodile's jaws are supposed to be extremely powerful, crushing power, So it goes and just clamps on the legs of Gajendra. It was very swift, very unexpected. Gajendra was caught off guard. And Gajendra did not expect anything this strong or this powerful. He always thought he's the most powerful creature. And he's like, what is this which is now holding my leg, biting my leg? And it feels so strong. And Gajendra tries. He tries to use all his power, all his might, trying to whisk away the crocodile, but the crocodile is not budging. Every time Gajendra is trying to get free using his strength, the crocodile is holding him tighter and tighter. Now Gajendra finally is feeling there is somebody more powerful than me. And Gajendra is feeling, looks like I am not going to win this battle. It dawns on him. It dawns on him that my power is probably not going to help me because he can feel that he's getting tired, which is a very unusual feeling for Gajendra because Gajendra thought he was so powerful. Nothing was big for him. Now suddenly here, he realizes his life is in danger and there is nothing he's able to do. That is when, especially when Gajendra started getting very tired and he started realizing that I can't even fight. I'm fighting and I'm not winning is one thing, but now I cannot even fight. I'm reaching that stage of exhaustion, which is totally foreign territory for Gajendra. But then what happens? First time in his life, Gajendra feels fear. His whole perception of being invincible gets shattered in that instance. See how life changes. Okay, for years he was the king, he was powerful, he was beloved, he was a leader, he was this, he was that, me. And within 5 minutes, see how everything changes. Now here is when Gajendra realized the nature of life, strength, power. He starts becoming very philosophical. And he realized that this physical strength I thought I was so proud of, ultimately it is useless to me now. It's not going to help me now. And then he remembers. What he remembers? Vishnu. When he goes through the test, when the pride goes away, then it makes way for your devotion to become forefront. This is what happens. No, that is why the Lord says that many times when you have difficulties in your life, take it as a blessing. Because only those difficulties are making you think of God. Only those difficulties are making you want to know Him or want to reach Him, reach out to Him. Because it is not just the difficulty which is causing you. In difficulties, your pride takes a hit. And when your pride takes a hit, that is when you are able to reach out to God. So, it is not necessary that you need to have difficulties. What is necessary is you need to take care of your pride. So, even in good times, if you know how to handle your pride, then you don't need a difficulty. And God is not going to put you through a difficulty. So, God doesn't want to put you through difficulties. God wants you to humble your pride. Unfortunately, the only time we are able to manage our pride is when we face difficulties. When things are going fine, we are all, our me is always prominent, correct? So that is what is happening here. So now the pride is going, and then he reaches out to Vishnu. And now he remembers that I have forgotten my devotion to Vishnu. What a big mistake I have done. So now he is closing his eyes and is offering a very fervent prayer to the Lord. So this prayer, it is not just a normal prayer. This prayer is a profound act of surrender, where he is acknowledging his helplessness and he is placing his complete trust in the mercy of the divine. So that is why it's a very beautiful prayer, which resonates with a lot of people who are going through difficulties, where we learn to let go of our ego, our pride, while at the same time we learn to let go of our fear also, by complete surrender and telling Krishna that take care of me. So this, because it's such a beautiful prayer, so it's a slightly long prayer. So what I have done, for the sake of this discussion, I have focused on that part where he's surrendering and asking for protection. The extended version is where he's praising also. He showers a lot of praises on Vishnu. So for the sake of this session, I have condensed it. And if you are interested, I'll share both versions with you. The condensed version as well as the full version, where it is called as the Gajendra Shloka.
Shri Gajendra Uvacha Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmai Yataye Tachidatmakam Purushaya Dibijaya Pareshaya Bidhimahi Yashminnidam Yachedam Yenedam Ya Idam Swayam Yosmat Parasmacha Parastam Prapadye Swayambhuvam Yahaswatmanidam Nijamaya Yarpitam Kvachit Vibatam Kvachatatthirohitam Aviddadruk Sakshubhayam Tadikshate Sa Atmamulo Vatumam Paratparah Kalena Panchattvamiteshu Krishnasho Lokeshu Paleshu Cha Sarvahetushu Tamastadasit Gahanam Gabiram Yastasya Parebi Vibirajate Vibuhu Nayasya Deva Rishaya Padam Vidur Jantu Punaha Korati Gantumiritum Yata Natasya Krutibir Vicheshtato Suratyayanu Kramana Samavatu.
Hare Krishna. So that was the condensed version of the prayer that Gajendra says. It's a very beautiful prayer. So I will start explaining. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think I've extracted around 6 slokas. So I'll just explain them. So Gajendra starts by saying, salutations to the Supreme Being, who is the source of all consciousness, who is the seed of all creation, who is the Lord of the universe. I bow down to that Supreme Being. When pride goes, you learn how to bow down. And then Gajendra says, I surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the foundation on which this entire universe rests. He is the source from which everything has been produced, and the cause by which this cosmic manifestation is sustained. He is both the creator and the material of this universe, yet he remains distinct from both the cause and the effect. He is self-sufficient, self-existent, and beyond all, the Supreme Godhead, in whom everything exists and who is the ultimate reality. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who by expanding his own energy, keeps this cosmic manifestation visible, and at times he renders it invisible, please protect me. He who is both the supreme cause and the supreme result, the observer and the witness in all circumstances, he sees everything with unfailing vision. Transcendental to everything, he is the root of the self and the ultimate reality. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead give me protection. In due course of time, when all the causative and effective manifestations of the universe, including the planets, their directors, their maintainers, when everybody is annihilated, everything in this world, including the elements, the rulers, when they all meet dissolution, and there remains the situation of profound and deep darkness. Yet, above and beyond this darkness shines the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all causes and effects. I take shelter of his lotus feet, the ultimate refuge beyond all destruction. Just as an artist on stage, adorned with attractive dresses and dancing with various movements, is not fully understood by his audience, the activities and features of the supreme artist, they remain beyond the comprehension of even the demigods and great sages, let alone those who are unintelligent like animals. Neither the demigods, sages, nor the unintelligent can grasp his true position or express in words his actual nature. Who then can understand or describe him? May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose actions are beyond comprehension as those of an unseen actor, kindly protect me. See in how many ways, beautiful ways, now he's seeking protection. As you see, all that had to happen was the pride has to go. Once the pride has to go, his beautiful self gets revealed, where he's so full of wisdom, he's so full of knowledge, he's so full of devotion, and he knows how to surrender. All of this was there, but it was all getting masked by that pride. Now we understand why Krishna is so keen and so clear that you have to let go of pride before you can come close to me. So such a beautiful prayer. So now in this moment of total surrender, Gajendra's cry, it is reaching the heavens. Because it's a very poetic way of saying it is reaching the heavens, whereas heaven is around us, God is around us. So he's just now aligned. He's tuned now to the divine frequency. That's what is happening. Because now this prayer has genuine devotion, genuine humility. It is guaranteed. Krishna always says, if you have Ananya Chintan and if you have the right bhava, see, if you look around, I always tell this whenever I explain this concept. You look at the universe, everything works based on some law. Nothing works randomly. Like the earth has been rotating, it has been rotating at 365.25 days. That has been happening for billions of years. The earth doesn't one day decide to rotate fast and one day slow. No, it doesn't happen, right? Just like that gravity, they call it the law of gravity. They don't call it the opinion of gravity or, the observation of gravity. It's a law of gravity. It's a law of thermodynamics. Everything is a law. And once we understand the law, see, if there were no laws, life wouldn't exist the way we know today. Like today, like we want to go visit our friends, families, we just buy a ticket, get on a plane, and we think we are so great. We are flying in a plane, because we are rich and we can afford it. We don't understand that if the laws of aerodynamics didn't exist and if the universe was not following those laws, your plane wouldn't fly. So what I'm trying to say is everything is a law. And if you understand the law and if you align with the law, the results are always going to happen the same way. Just like that, Krishna says, the law of bhakti is humility, sincerity, lack of pride, and consistency. Ananya Chintan. That is the law, he says. And if you follow, it is not at all possible that I followed and Krishna was still not merciful. It's not going to happen because it's a law, right? So that is what we are trying to bring out here. That we have to have faith. We have to have faith that everything in the universe works as per laws, and Krishna's words are ultimate. If Krishna has said Ananya Chintan will get us his grace, it will get us his grace. So now Lord Vishnu, of course, he has to fulfill his promise to his devotee who is already surrendered. So he comes on his Garuda. He doesn't like planes. He prefers Garuda, because it is environmentally friendly, eco-friendly. So he is coming on Garuda. He comes to the lake, and so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is dramatically explained that when Lord comes on his Garuda, to the lake, the entire universe holds its breath, because they all want to now see what Leela Krishna is going to play or Vishnu is going to play in this instance. So everybody is holding their breath and they want to see what's going on here. So now Vishnu, he saw the plight of his devotee Gajendra. He's coming to his rescue, and now Krishna's all famous Sudarshana Chakra that comes into picture, and it takes like a fraction of a second. Just a fraction of a second, the problem is solved. Now it is a test of the crocodile. The crocodile that thought that it is so powerful, it can crush even Gajendra, its pride is now in test, and Krishna takes a fraction of a second with his Sudarshana Chakra and Dishyum. Yeah. But now the story goes that as soon as the crocodile saw the Sudarshana Chakra coming, it recognized the supreme authority of Lord Vishnu, and it immediately releases Gajendra, and it bows down in humility. Now the story is that crocodile also was a Gandharva named Huhu, and it was a crocodile based on a curse. So it is all divine Leela only. See, as always, Krishna, he will play one Leela and he will take care of 3 or 4 different problems. So here he had to take care of Gajendra's pride, he had to take care of the crocodile's pride, he had to liberate the crocodile and all of that, everything in one go. So this is what happens. So the crocodile's curse is lifted and Gajendra is freed, and the crocodile gets liberation and it gets its Gandharva form again. Such a beautiful scenario. And now Gajendra is again profusely, devoted and praising Krishna, Vishnu, and overwhelmed. Now Gajendra, instead of pride, now he is overwhelmed with devotion and gratitude. And then Lord Vishnu says, "Your unwavering faith and devotion, they have touched my heart. You have shown the world the true essence of surrender, and for that I bestow upon you my eternal blessing." And then Vishnu says, "From this day onward, you shall be remembered as a shining example of devotion, and your story shall inspire generations to come." That is one of the reasons when people are in difficulty, they like to go and listen to the Gajendra Stotram. Now you see, because of the surrender, it was not that Gajendra was just saved from a physical danger, but he was also liberated. He got mukti. Vishnu actually granted him mukti. That was the level of compassion that Vishnu had. And Gajendra actually went to Vaikunta and he got to live with the Lord there. So beautiful, so powerful. So another lesson here is, this is what Krishna said. Suhridam, he didn't say Suhridam, Sarva Manushyanam. Krishna said Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. So it is love, compassion, passion is for everybody, all living entities. So here even an elephant got his grace and it got liberation. So that is a message for all of us. Now I want to bring out some key lessons that we can learn in a slightly more practical way from this whole story of Gajendra's devotion. The first is the power of surrender. We already discussed about it, because surrender has a very transformative power. And the kind of surrender that Gajendra had, that is what is known as Sharanagati. Sharanagati means now I give up. I give up my pride. I give up my sense of control, and I totally surrender. That is Sharanagati. Very, very important. Sharanagati is not an act of weakness. In other words, if you try to practice Saranagati from a viewpoint of weakness, that's never going to work. Saranagati always has to be a spiritual endeavor where you are consciously surrendering your ego and pride. Very, very important. That is why Krishna says, Karmanyavadika rastu ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma. So you see, the whole thing has to be taken into context, where Krishna doesn't just say that don't expect results. Krishna also says that akarmane is not an option. So surrender doesn't mean I will do nothing. Surrender means I will do what I'm supposed to do, but I will not expect results. I will not be in the mode of pride that the result is depending on me. I will fight, but I will not assume that the victory is because I fought bravely. That is the difference between Saranagati and just akarma. Akarma means I'm doing nothing and I want victory. You see the difference? So that is the power of surrender, very, very important. Second is God's compassionate nature. I was just telling you, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. That is always there. See, why I am repeating this so many times is because we have discussed this earlier also. Faith is very important, but the main problem, the main impediment for faith is doubt. Doubt in what? We think we have doubt in God, but it is not actually doubt in God. At the root, at the core, it is doubt in yourself. We have doubt in our own abilities. We have doubt in our own eligibility. We don't believe that we are eligible. We don't believe that we are good enough. And when we have those kind of doubts deep within, it prevents us from having complete faith. So here is where Krishna is demonstrating his Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. He says, I am everybody's best friend. I have everybody's best interest in mind. Even an elephant, I'm coming and helping and making sure that it gets liberation. Why will I not come for you? But then what did the elephant do? Even if elephant can do, can you not do that? Ananya Chintan and surrender is the question. Then the role of faith and devotion we just saw, because faith coupled with surrender is what is the magic here. And the importance of humility that has to be done in. You shouldn't become proud of your ability to surrender now. Some people will go proclaiming, I am a surrendered soul. So that's something we have to understand. And of course, as I was saying, keep repeating, keep telling yourself, Krishna is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. Krishna is Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. You repeat it, your doubt will slowly go away. Your self-doubts will go away slowly. So, after all of this, Arjuna, after telling Krishna that, Krishna, what is this I'm seeing? This kind of dangerous, fearful sight. What am I seeing, Krishna? I have lost my peace. All of that. And then he's pleading with Krishna. He's saying, please be merciful to me. He says, I cannot maintain my mental balance when you are showing such a form with blazing death-like faces and dangerous teeth, and it looks like the entire universe is on fire. He says, please have mercy on me. And Arjuna is saying that I'm also seeing that all the warriors from the Kaurava army, even the great ones like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all the sons of Dhritarashtra, all the soldiers, he's saying they are all getting annihilated. I can see that. Now, in other words, Krishna is giving him a trailer. In other words, he's telling Arjuna that the match is already fixed. He's saying the match is already fixed. You just have to play. Victory is already guaranteed. That is what Arjuna sees in the Vishwarupa Darshanam. He can see that all the Kauravas, all the Dhritarashtra's sons, he can see that everybody is going into his mouth. They are getting destroyed. Oh my God. So Arjuna is saying that just like all the rivers, they are flowing into the ocean, it looks like all the warriors are flowing helplessly into your many mouths. And the other analogy Arjuna is using now, it's very, very profound here. Arjuna says, it also looks like all the warriors, they are rushing into your mouth just like the moths they rush into a fire. This was covered in an earlier chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Do you remember? We spoke about this. Who remembers? Who can tell me? Okay, Sandeep ji, you want to say?
Patanga.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, in chapter 2, we discussed Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani, where he said, Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bringa. He was telling how each of these animals have a weakness for one sense, and that itself takes them towards their destruction. And he's like, you humans have a weakness for all 5 senses. Only God can save you. So, after witnessing, so that is another message to keep in mind. So when Krishna and Arjuna, when Arjuna is telling Krishna about all the warriors, they are behaving like moths, again it should remind us of that lesson. Okay. So after witnessing all of this, Arjuna is becoming anxious, he's fearful, he's agitated. And then he's telling, Krishna, tell me, like, who are you really? Because I used to always think you are this loving, pleasing Muralidhara, playing a basuri and dancing with the girls and, tending to the cows. And now I'm seeing that you are so ferocious and so scary and so fearsome and with so many heads, and you are like setting the whole universe on fire. Who are you really, Krishna? And what is your purpose? So he says, I'm not able to really comprehend. Now, in the next few verses, Krishna will respond. He will respond to this particular situation, this particular question of Arjuna. And as always, very patiently, very lovingly, Krishna is going to help him understand what he is supposed to make out of this experience. So stay with us in the journey. And in the next session, let us dive deeper and see what Krishna has to tell Arjuna. So I hope all this is making sense so far. Hare Krishna. I can stop talking. If any of you had any questions or comments, please feel free. Okay.
Just one thing comes to mind when you're saying that Sugrudam Sarva Bhutanam. I mean, while you were explaining to us, like, and keep the faith and all, it also can lead to be fearless. I mean, that's what came to mind. Like, be fearless, face your fears and go ahead and just keep the faith. I mean,
Absolutely.
the constant thought came to my mind is be fearless.
Absolutely.
Don't fear. That's what I would want to. I mean, we can extend it to that as well in terms of when you're explaining it. Like.
Oh, totally. In fact, this is one of the lessons Krishna has said. Krishna has said that fear is an impediment.
Yeah.
Where Krishna says that fear prevents you from realizing your true potential, and fear prevents you from practicing devotion as well. So, and the other aspect of fear we will be talking in the next session. I will try to dive deep. Deepali ji has talked about fear, so next session I will dive deeper into fear.
Yeah.
And Sandeep ji, thank you for your attention to the sloka. I was very happy that you are able to retain as well. So please keep it up.
Thank you.
And if there's anything you would like us to do differently, or if you had your own questions, please feel free. You can either raise it here or you can send it to me over mail and we will address it. Okay?
Sure. Things are absolutely clear.
Okay. Okay then. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. See you all in the next session. Stay blessed.